So it's been quite some time since Warside first came out and released over on PC, and I am here to make a little bit of an update video because I'm gonna be honest, I have been eyeballing this game and I've been trying to keep a close eye on this game to see what has changed and what has been going on, and I gotta say, man, it's not been too good for Warside. I hate to be the negative Nancy and the bearer of bad news, but it's not been a good look for Warside over the last month or so. So, one thing that definitely rubs me the wrong way is that there have been rumors and reports about Warside has increased the price over on Steam for PC. So, when the game first launched, I believe it was around $25. And I've heard rumors and reports that because the developers were working on patches for the game, they have increased the price from like $25 to like 27 or possibly even $30 even. And it automatically makes me think, like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you're telling me that you have released a game that is basically broken, if not riddled with bugs and glitches, and there are still so many problems with the game, and you're telling me that you're going to increase the price of your game just because you have a couple patches in there to fix the game, and you're like, oh, we have a couple of patches here, and we have a roadmap of all of these bugs and glitches that we're going to try to sort out and all these features coming into the game. Like, dude, I don't care about the roadmap of all the patches you have for the game. What I want is a fully polished and fully functioning product without all of these issues. We shouldn't have a roadmap for all of these problems that you should have the answers to. Like, this should have never happened at launch in the first place. Now, before I do get carried away with this rant I have going, I know there will probably be someone in the comments that try to tell me, well, Nightwing, this is a group of indie developers. You gotta give them a chance, dude. Who they're trying to do the best they can. And to a certain degree, I will agree. Yes, these are a small group of indie developers. I agree. But however, that still doesn't give them the excuse to release a broken game. You'll remember the massive controversy surrounding No Man's Sky. That was being made by a group of indie developers, and guess what? That went down as one of the worst game launches in the gaming industry history, and then several years later, if not a decade at this point, No Man's Sky ended up making one of the biggest comebacks that we have ever seen, and No Man's Sky is one of the greatest games out there right now because Hello Games, the indie developer studio of No Man's Sky, actually stuck with their guns and they actually deliver what they promised. But of course, when the game first released back in 2016, the game ended up as one of the worst botched launches in gaming history, and they were committed to fixing their mistakes over the course of several years. So, once again, just because these are a small group of indie developers, which I get it, you're trying to make a game for fun, I understand that. But however, I'm not going to give them the excuse for them to release a broken product just so they can fix their mistakes. I mean, this should have never happened in the first place. So I've used this example in my last video talking about Warside, and I'm going to be using it again here as well. You'll know games like Wargroove, the Advance Wars inspired indie developer game that was made by Chucklefish. Guess what? When they first made Wargroove, that game came out far better than Warside did. Say what you will about Wargroove, but at least when the game launched, at least it had all the content there day one, such as a codex with a deep dive of like your commanders and your units explaining their lore and how these units are supposed to work, and explains the pros and cons of every unit, and it explains stuff about like the territories and environments and how environments are supposed to work in combat, and it goes in depth with combat mechanics and explains how the game is supposed to work within the codex. And you have a map creator which you can use to play against other players, or you can play against the NPC if you want to on your own time for the funsies. And when the game launched, it had a fully fleshed out campaign with different alternate paths, such as like side quests, so you can unlock bonus rewards, and the campaign was finished day one. And there was a dedicated lobby system, so you and a random player can have bookmarked matches, so you can take your turn whenever you so choose. So if you have to go take care of something important, the game will bookmark your progress, and you can come back to the game at a later time when you or your opponent finish your turn. And keep this in mind, Chucklefish is also an indie developer studio as well, and they at least took the time to make sure that the game that they release, at least they made sure that it had all the right stuff, meaning like, okay, we need to get the codex down, we need to make sure that we're explaining the mechanics properly, we need to make sure that we got the campaign done properly, we need to make sure that we got the side quests done in the campaign, we got to make sure that the custom content tab is done so people can make their multiplayer maps or their own campaign if they really wanted to. At least Chucklefish had an idea of what they were working on, and at least they had the time and the effort to work on this game. And at least when they were confident enough, and at least when they were ready to launch the game, they made sure to double check everything, and they made sure to release the game in a polished state and not a broken state. I mean, is Wargroove absolutely perfect? Absolutely not. There are still some problems I can point out with the game, one of them being the multiplayer, for example, because the bookmark system, which is really cool, because if you have to go take care of something important, you can just bookmark your progress and come back to it on a later date, but realistically, 90% of the time, people don't want to wait on other people. They rather play the game right then and there. Usually for like bookmark progress stuff like this, I think it's pretty cool, don't get me wrong, but I think it works much better if you're playing with like a group of friends in like a 4v4 or like a 2v2 or like a one player versus everyone else in like a free-for-all match where you and three other friends are playing in the same game. I mean, sure, Warside does have a multiplayer, but of course, when people already got their hands-on impression of the game, I mean, people just abandon ship much faster than people can say hoopla or oops or whatever. The game was so received so badly that people quickly realized that, yeah, the way they handle this game, it's not that good. So we're just going to go play other games that are better. So people are just going back to games like Wargroove, or people are going back to games like Advance Wars by Web, because those older games do it much better than the newer turn-based games. And that's just a shame, because there were some people in the Advance Wars community that were really looking forward to this game. But yet, the developers of Warside, Lava Bird Studios, have just dropped the ball so hard that they just basically lost everyone's interest that were looking forward to this game. I mean, sure, they have released like maybe a patch or two to fix the game, but it's not gonna be enough at this rate. This game clearly needed more time in the development of it. It needed like 6 months, if not maybe 12 months at most, a whole year worth of development time to get this game out there. And that's just a shame, because I was personally looking forward to this game, but yet seeing the way that the developers are handling this game, I'm just no longer interested. And this was one of my anticipated games of the year, where I was looking forward to it. And unfortunately, that is no longer the case. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 6 was also one of my anticipated games, but that game got delayed into 2026, so that's one of my 4 anticipated games that struck out. And then we also have games like Warside, which was also another one of my anticipated games, but that game butchered the launch and it blew its one chance at release. So that's two of the four anticipated games on my list that struck out this year. And the only two games left that are on my anticipated list this year is Elden Ring Night Rain and Atana. Those are the only two games left on my anticipated list this year. The Grand Theft Auto inspired anime game Atana and Elden Ring Night Rain. But at this point, with the direction that these games are going in for 2025, I am starting to have some serious doubt with myself with these games going forward. It's just a sad situation to see unfold, and it's just some very unfortunate news to report on, but it is what it is. Hopefully that these developers can pull off some kind of comeback and maybe get the game to a more tolerable state. But at this rate, man, I have some serious doubt for this game going forward. I want this game to do good and I want these developers to make a comeback with this game, but as of now, only time will be able to tell. But as of now, I just have no interest with this game whatsoever. So, with this being said, thank you everyone for watching and for listening. And until next time, I'm talking about the Warside situation, and I will see you all later.